Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're doing a different type of video today. So I was watching the games the last couple of days, and there's been some really good games, really competitive games between two potential playoff teams, and I was thinking, you know what? If the playoffs were to start right now, here today, who would win? So today, I'm going to be trying to predict what the NBA playoffs would be like if the season were to end today, right now, and predict my winner. How this makes sense for the long-term run, I don't know. We still have a whole 30-ish games left in the season, so what I say now probably won't be the same down the line. But right now, we're just doing this for fun, because playoff basketball is going to be insane this year, and I'm very excited for it, so we're going to do that here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views, all the videos, and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, also like that. I really appreciate it. It helps out a lot. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So we're taking all the standings that are currently happening right now as we're recording this. It is Valentine's Day, February 14th, before the games, early in the morning. So standings might change by the time this video is up, by the time you see it. So I'm just letting you know now that we're taking based on what I'm recording right now, which is February 14th at 11:30 in the morning. All right, so we got to start with the play-in. We'll start both play-in sides. First, to start the Eastern Conference, the 7-8 matchup will be the Miami Heat or Orlando Magic, the Battle of Florida. Both teams are 29 and 25. Injuries and stuff are going to be interesting because right now Jimmy Butler is currently away from the team due to personal reasons. So that makes a huge difference in terms of this game, obviously. But I'm going to assume that Jimmy Butler will be around. For most injuries, I'm going to assume that people are going to be healthy at this point, except if they're out for like 4 weeks or 4 months or stuff like that. But Miami and Orlando in a one-game elimination in Miami, 7-8. I got to go with the Miami Heat. They're made for this. They're made for these tough, gritty games. Miami and Orlando are both more defensive-oriented teams. Their offense are not great. So this probably is going to be one of those games that's going to be like 96-94 type of games, and whoever can make shots at the end is going to win. And I'm going to go Miami. They're battle-tested. They already know, how this is going to play. And once it becomes April, that's when they start playing real basketball. So I'm going to go with Miami, winning the 7-8 play-in. They make it to the 7th seed. Now the 9-10 matchup in the East, we have the Bulls and the Hawks in Chicago. Chicago at 26 and 28, Atlanta at 24 and 30. This is very tough. The Bulls not going to have Zach LaVine for this game. The Bulls, they're a solid team, offensively, defensively, Kobe White has been great. But the Hawks, I don't know how much I can count out Trae Young in a one-game elimination. Last year, they beat the Heat in the first playing game. That was very surprising, And Trae Young is really good in these moments. And picking on both the teams' roster, I think Atlanta has a better roster than Chicago. But, of course, and Atlanta's been playing actually decent recently. They've been getting a little bit better. One-game elimination is in Chicago. The Bulls are a really solid team. But I don't know. I don't know if I can pick against Atlanta and Trae Young in this scenario. I'm going to go with Atlanta at number 10, taking out the number 9 seed Bulls. And now we have our last play-in game, Orlando and Atlanta. In Orlando, winner takes the 8th spot. Orlando and Atlanta. Atlanta, this is like kind of the battle of offense versus defense. Atlanta's a top offense, but a very bad defense. Orlando's our top defense, but not a good offense. Is in Orlando again. Man, Trae Young. I don't know, something about Trae Young, in these type of games. I don't know. I just feel like I can't count him out with this team. But Orlando's defense is just so strong. Atlanta's defense is so weak, and Orlando's been really good all year. I'm going to take the Magic, though. I'm going to take the Magic in this game, so it kind of lines up how it's going to go in the Eastern Conference if there was no play-in. Now going to the Western Conference, we have the 7-8 matchup, Mavericks and Kings. This is a very tough game. Dallas at 31 and 23, Sacramento at 30 and 23. It is in Dallas. The Mavericks look great with their new additions, P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. The Kings are an amazing offense. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis have been playing great this year. But Luka Doncic is on another level, man. Honestly, in a one-game elimination, there's not many players I want to, take. There's not that many players that in a one-game elimination I would take before Luka Doncic. Like Luka Doncic in a one-game elimination, man, that is tough, And especially you got Kyrie now, the new additions were playing good. I got to take the Mavericks. Even though the Kings are a really good team in themselves, De'Aaron and Domantas Sabonis have been amazing. I think I have to take Dallas, and they take the 7th seed. Now the 9-10 matchup, Lakers and Warriors. It's like the second or third time they've met each other in a play-in matchup. Lakers at 29 and 26, Warriors at 26 and 25. It is in LA. in Crypto.com arena. Both teams been playing pretty much better recently. LeBron and AD. We saw what happened in the in-season tournament and how they dominated, and it seems like they get up for games like this. But the Warriors have been playing great, and Steph Curry is so amazing. In a one-game elimination, this is tough. But I think I'm going to go with the Lakers. I'm going with the Lakers beating the Warriors in one-game elimination. I think LeBron and AD, we saw, that when it comes to the real-time in-season tournament, stuff like that, they can flip a switch. And especially with the way D'Lo's been playing recently, they've been getting back to old Laker ways. Their defense is starting to step up a lot more, even though they're not super, super healthy. I would take the Lakers in a one-game scenario. And now we have the final playing game in the Western Conference. Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers in Sacramento. This is a very tough game. We have De'Aaron and Demonis versus LeBron and AD. And I think this game is really going to come down to the role players. Whose role players are going to step up? Is it going to be Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk in Sacramento? Or is it going to be D'Lo, Austin Reeves, and the Lakers? Really. Very tough game. Sacramento at home is a tough team to deal with. Again, De'Aaron and Demonis and AD, that battle is going to be very interesting down low. That's going to be a bruising battle against those two teams. Man, that's a tough one. But I think I'm going to take the Kings in this game. I don't know why, even though it is very hard to bet against LeBron and AD, honestly. Especially in a one-game elimination, it is very hard to bet against LeBron and Anthony Davis. Really, it is. And the Kings, I like the Kings a lot. They're a really good team. De'Aaron Fox, Demonis Sabonis been playing great. They got better role players than the Lakers do. But LeBron and AD, man, oh man, this is really tough. I'm gonna go with the Kings. I'm gonna go with the Kings. I don't know. I just get a feeling that if these two teams match up, I'll go with the Sacramento Kings. I think De'Aaron Fox is gonna make some clutch shots. I think it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna come down to stops, honestly, I think. And even though the Lakers probably are a better defense, I don't know. I just trust. Do I trust the Kings more? I said Kings twice, but I'm going back on it right now because, man, my gut is telling me to go with the Lakers, but my brain is telling me to go with the Kings. This is really hard. I'm gonna go with the Lakers. I'm going with the Lakers. One game scenario. There's not that many people I'm betting against over LeBron and AD. I'm going with the Lakers. The Lakers sneak into the playoffs as the 8th seed. All right, now we got to the playoff matchups, the real ones. We'll start with the Eastern Conference first round. The 1-8 matchup, we got the Boston Celtics and the Orlando Magic. Boston, of course, taking the 1 seed at home. Orlando on the road. I got to go with Boston, obviously. In games, I'll take Boston in 4 as a sweep. Even though I really like Orlando, they're tough defense, obviously, and Boston heavily relies on jumpers. Orlando's offense just can't keep up with Boston, honestly, at the end of the day. I feel like Boston could have a tough shooting night. It could still win just because of the talent they have on their roster. And, yeah, that's really what it is. This would be a 4. At most, maybe Orlando could steal 1 game because Boston shoots so many jumpers that eventually 1 game out of the 4, they're going to have a game where it's they're not shooting the ball well, and Orlando maybe can sneak one out. Powell has a big 30-nut piece, or Franz Wagner has a 35-point game or something like that. But, really, I'll go Boston in 4. Next, got 2-7, Cavaliers and the Heat in Cleveland. This is a very tough series. This is another really hard-fought series. 2 great defenses. The Cavaliers have been super on fire recently. And, of course, we know about Miami in the playoffs. Especially Jimmy Butler. That's a whole nother story. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Cavs in 6 or 7 because this is a really hard series. But I'm going to go with the Cavs. I'll go with the Cavs in 7. I'll go Cleveland in 7. This is a very hard series. Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is another animal. Even though Cleveland's defense is elite, and their offense has been going crazy. And Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, we've known that he's also a guy that in the playoffs it comes down to it. So Jimmy Butler versus Donovan Mitchell in a playoff series, though, that would be insane. Those two, they've been amazing, playoff risers in the last couple of years. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Battle of kind of like a big lineup and Bam versus Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. You got the shooters around them. That would be a really good matchup. That would be a really fun basketball matchup. But I'm gonna go with the Cavaliers. I feel like they're just been so hot recently, and the team is better than Miami. Even though Miami, of course, is a hard, gritty series, it's not gonna be an easy one for the Cavs. Obviously, it probably will be a 6 or 7 game matchup. But I'm gonna go with the Cavaliers. Next, got 3-6 Milwaukee in Indiana in Milwaukee. Now, this is going to be a very fun series. Of course, these two have had their battles. They play like, 5 times in this, right? Or 5 or 6 times in the regular season. You know, they play against each other. Indiana has had some really good battles against them, but Giannis as well has dropped 60 on them. But they didn't have Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam will be the Giannis defender. Now, I'm not saying he's going to stop Giannis because no one really can stop Giannis, obviously. But it'll be a little bit harder. I'm going to go with the Bucks, though. I'm going to go with the Bucks in 6. Even though I like Indiana's team a lot, especially now that they added Pascal Siakam, they got a nuke. They got another dynamic to add to them in terms of their half-court offense, which in the playoffs, if you have a really good half-court offense, you can go far. And Indiana's offense, of course, is probably still the best in the league. They've been shooting the ball really, really well. Tyrese Halliburton has been great. And Milwaukee's defense has kind of been struggling, but they've been getting it back together recently. And I don't know, I just don't think anybody on the Pacers can stop Giannis. You know, and Giannis in the playoffs, like Giannis has shown by himself, he could probably win you a game or two. Just add Damian Lillard hitting a couple more shots, Brook Lopez hitting a couple more shots, you know, and that's all. You know, both these teams don't really play defense, so it's probably going to be a lot of high-scoring games and stuff like that. It's going to be to come down to who's going to get, like, the last stop. Who's going to get the last stop and final stops in the fourth quarter when it matters. And I trust Milwaukee more in that than I do Indiana. But it will be a very fun series. So I'm going to go with Milwaukee in 6. And the last first-round series, 4-5, New York and Philadelphia. Do I count Joel Embiid in this series? I don't know because we don't know if he's going to be back. But honestly, even if Philly does come in this series, if Joel Embiid does play in this series, I'm going with New York in, 5. I just think the Knicks team is so great. You know, with Joel or without Joel. Even if Joel does play in this series, he's not going to be a full 100%. And the Knicks are a really gritty team. You know, Isaiah Hartenstein's been great. Julius Randle, if he returns. OG Anunoby is really tough. You know, and those guys are going to be coming back. You know, they're not going to be out for the season, so I'll assume they're going to be in there for the playoffs. And Jalen Brunson has just been on another superstar level. And now adding Bogdanovich and Alec Burks, their Knicks team is really good. This Knicks team is just really, really good. And so I'm going to go with New York in 5. Philly just doesn't have enough. And with the Joel Embiid injury, you know, it just kind of really settles things back. Because if Joel is fully healthy, 100% in the series, then, you know, it's a whole different story. They're probably not even, you know, like, it's a whole different story. But with Joel, even if he does come back, he's not going to be fully 100%. He's probably going to be 60, maybe, if even that. Like, I don't think that's enough to take down this Knicks team. Going to the Western Conference now. 1-8 matchup. We have the Timberwolves and the Lakers in Minnesota. This is going to be a very fun. This would be a very fun match at 1-8. The inexperienced Wolves versus the experienced Lakers. LeBron and AD taking on the 1 seed in Minnesota. The Timberwolves defense obviously is elite. Their offense has been kind of iffy. You do have Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. You know, this would be a very good series. You know, this would be a very fun matchup to watch. Kind of like the inexperienced team, top seed versus the experienced lower seed. I'm gonna go with Minnesota though. I'm going Minnesota in 6 games or maybe 7. I think Minnesota's defense is elite and Lakers' offense has not been, even though it's been getting better. LeBron and AD obviously are going to be there, but I don't know how much I could trust the role players around LeBron and AD in this playoff series, especially against a Minnesota defense that is, again, elite, the best in the NBA. You know, Rudy Gobert back to defense player of the year himself. Guys like Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, you know, Colin Anderson on the defense, man, is tough. And, you know, Lakers' defense is really good too. Obviously, it's going to be more probably a defensive battle, you know, whose offense could stay the most consistent. But I don't know. I just feel like Minnesota's elite defense is going to be tough for the Lakers' kind of middling-ish offense to kind of get over the hump with. So I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But it would be a really good series. And honestly, the Lakers would have a really good shot of beating Minnesota. Next, we have the 2-7 matchup with the Thunder and the Mavericks. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping this is a series that we get. 2-7. Like, I don't know. I've been thinking about this series for a month. You know? Like, I feel like this series could be insane. Kind of, you got the inexperienced top seed full team Thunder versus Luka Doncic. Like, Luka Doncic alone, I feel like takes this to 5 or 6 games. You know? And Dallas also blew him out the other day. Put 146 on OKC. With the new additions and stuff like that. I feel like this would be a very interesting matchup. And honestly, I'm really hoping we kind of get this series in the first round because I feel like it'll be an amazing one. And I still honestly kind of don't know what to pick because OKC's team is better. Looking at just rosters, OKC's team is better. Shea has been elite. Jalen Williams is really good. He had a really good game last night against Orlando. Chet Holmgren, obviously, you got the size there. You got really good role players like Lou Dort. Isaiah Joe can give him a good game. Josh Giddey can do some decent things. Gordon Hayward, if he comes back and plays, you know, be a solid addition. Like, you got really good. They're both great offensively and and great defensively, you know. But Dallas has one guy that wears the number 77. That his name is Luka Doncic, and when you have him, again, he's one of those guys that I don't want to bet against a whole lot. He's one of those guys that I don't want to take before a lot of other people, you know, or I want to take before I take anybody else. Honestly, like especially in this playoff scenario, like looking at Luka Doncic's playoff career, like he's done things. Like he took back-to-back series. He took literally by himself. He took an LA Clipper team with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to 6 and 7 games. You know, like by himself was one win away from being that team. You know, and then the next year he took a team with him and basically Jalen Brunson and a bunch of others to the conference finals. So it's like I don't know how much I could bet against Luka Doncic in the playoff series. You know, and now add in you have Kyrie Irving now. You know, another guy that can go off and get 30 when he needs to. Guys like Daniel Gafford, P.J. Washington have been playing great. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been elite. Derek Lively, Josh Green is playing really good basketball. Maxi Kleber is playing good basketball. You know, and their defense is starting to look a little bit better. Like this would be a series. Honestly, I think this is a 7-game series for me. This is a 7-game series. This is going to be really tough, and I kind of am leaning towards Dallas just because of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Man, I don't know. Even though OKC's team is freaking amazing, like oh man, I'm leaning towards Dallas. Oh man, this is a really tough series for me personally. This is a really tough series because like man, I'm just gonna take some time to really decide on who I think would win. I'm gonna take the Mavericks. I'm gonna take the Mavericks to upset OKC, even though it's really tough because I love OKC. I'm not saying this as a hate to OKC or disrespectful towards OKC, because OKC is an amazing team, man, and it's really hard to do. But I honestly feel like if it was anybody else, if they were playing at Sacramento or the Lakers, I would take OKC. But I don't know, something about Dallas and Luka in the playoffs is just a different animal. And so I'm going to take Dallas over OKC. It really hurts to do it, but I'm going to do it. Next, got 3-6, the Clippers and the Suns. This would be a crazy series. You got KD, Book, and Bradley Beal versus Kawhi, Paul George, and Harden. And Westbrook, like, man, this would be a star-studded series. Another one that's going to go down to it. But I'm going to go with the Clippers in 6. Even though the Suns have been playing great basketball recently, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, guys like Grayson Allen are really stepping up. I love the Royce O'Neal addition for Phoenix. The Clippers have just been too elite to me. Like, Kawhi Leonard is playing at an MVP level. Paul George is playing great. James Harden is playing really good basketball. They got guys like Russell Westbrook, Norman Powell off the bench that are tough. Like Daniel Tice, Mason Plumlee have been really good off the bench. You know, Terrence Mann has been a good connector. Zubac. Like, this team is just too tough on both ends. Offensively, they've been great, but defensively, they can lock in as well. And Phoenix can't say the same thing about, even though we have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker who can go off for 40 or 50, really whatever they want, and another guy in Bradley Beal that when he wants to can have big games as well. Grayson Allen's been playing really good. You know, they have a solid team themselves, but just the Clippers have been too elite on both ends. That I don't know if I can really pick against them a lot, you know. So I'm gonna go with Clippers over Phoenix. In the final first round matchup, we have the 4-5 Denver and the Pelicans. This would be an interesting series. I'm gonna go with Denver though in about 5 games. Even though the Pelicans are a really tough team, they have good talent. I just think Denver is just all reliable, kind of in a way. Like Denver, Jokic. Like I don't know if the Pelicans are stopping Jokic in this series. Jamal Murray, you know how he turns up in the playoffs. They do have Herb Jones, who's an elite defender. But Denver's team is just too. That starting 5, man. That starting 5 is just too elite. MPJ, Aaron Gordon, KCP all fit their role perfectly. Nikola Jokic is playing amazing basketball. I don't know if anybody on the Pelicans is stopping Jokic at this point. You know, it really comes down to the bench of Denver. Can they like kind of stay afloat when Jokic or Jamal Murray is out? That's really what it depends on. And I guess the Pelicans are a good team. They have good players, but I don't know, just Denver's playoff experience and stuff like that is just too overpowering for me. So I'm going to go with Denver in this series. Now we move on to the semifinals. We'll start the Eastern Conference. We have the 1 versus 4 seed, Boston Celtics, New York Knicks. This would be a very fun series, very intense series. That honestly probably is going to go 6 or 7 with this new Knicks team. We haven't seen them full together yet, but we assume that they're going to be good. The Knicks have been one of the hottest teams recently, but of course you have the Boston Celtics as well. I'm going to go with the Celtics in 7. I'm going with the Celtics in 7. I think this is a 6 or 7 game series. I don't think any of these teams is just going to go out like that. Both these teams are too good offensively and defensively. They're both some of the best teams. It'll be very fun to see some matchups, though, especially, you know, the Knicks, honestly, the Knicks have a chance, a really good chance in this series. Like, the Celtics, of course, they rely heavily on the jump shot. Their defense is really good though, and they still have Tatum and Brown. But the Knicks' defense is elite. Obviously, you have OJ Anunoby, you got Dante DiVincenzo, you got Alec Burks off the bench. Like, you got a really good defense, obviously, and then offensively as well, they can hold their own with Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle. Even though the defensive match should be crazy on both sides, because if the Knicks are on offense, you're probably putting Drew Holiday on Jalen Brunson, and then who's going on Julius Randle? Probably Brown, I would assume. Maybe put Brown on Julius Randle. Or if you want to put Derek White on Jalen Brunson and put Drew Holiday on Julius Randle, because I've seen Drew Holiday, they put him on some fours and sometimes with the big body and stuff. That would be very interesting. They have the defenders that they can just do that. You know what I mean? And the Knicks are a really good team in terms of offensive rebounding and stuff. Boston also has Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis, and they also brought in Xavier Tillman and Luke Cornett that can come in and rebound as well for the big man lineup depth. Both teams take a lot of threes, have shooters, guys like Derek White, Drew Holiday, Sam Hauser for Boston. New York has Dante DiVincenzo, OG, obviously, Alec Burks, Bogdanovich now. Man, this would be a series. Thinking about it now, this would be an amazing series to me, personally. But I would go with the Celtics in 7 in this one. And we have the other Eastern Conference semifinal. We have the 2 seed Cavaliers, the 3 seed Milwaukee Bucks. This would be a very interesting series as well. I think the Cavaliers won the season series. In this one, they won 3-1. I'm pretty sure. Beat them by 40 on ESPN, but Giannis did not play in that game. The Cavaliers have been super hot. The Bucks have not been amazing since Doc Rivers has come in, but I assume as you go on in the season, they're going to get a little bit better. This would be a very hard-fought series as well. You got, of course, Giannis and Brook Lopez trying to go up against Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in the paint. You got the guard, Damian Lillard versus Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell. Of course, we know the perimeter defense in Milwaukee has not been great, so Donovan Mitchell can have another good series. Darius Garland as well. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down low versus Giannis. It's going to be a very interesting matchup to see because Giannis has been elite, obviously, and Mobley and Allen. The Cavs defense is elite. That's going to be very fun to see. I think it's honestly going to come down to whose three-point shooters are hot, because both these teams are teams that rely on three-pointers. So Bucks, you got Malik Beasley, Jay Crowder, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton versus the Cavs. You got Max Strus, George Niang, Sam Merrill, Karis LeVert. Like, really, it's going to come down, I think, the series to whose role players are hitting their shots better. Which is an obvious thing, but it's true because both these teams, obviously, they're stars. You have Giannis, Dame versus Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton. Like, both these teams are kind of very similar in some ways. Both teams have a lot of star power and stuff like that. I think it's really come down to who role players are going to hit the big shots when it matters. Is Malik Beasley going to have games where he hits 5 or 6 threes? Is Karis LeVert can come off the bench and score 18, 20? Can Max Strus hit 4 or 5 threes? Can George Niang hit 4 threes off the bench? Can Bobby Portis have a game where he has 20 points off the bench? Can Pat Connaughton and Jay Crowder hit 2 or 3 3-pointers? It's going to be something like that. Pat Bev, what can he do in this series? I think it's really going to come down to whose role players, whose shooters are really going to be on it. It's very tough because the Bucks have not looked amazing this season as the championship contenders, but you still have to respect him in a playoff series because Giannis Antetokounmpo has been playing elite, and I assume that Damian Lillard is going to step up when it comes to playoff time. And for the Cavaliers, they're inexperienced as well in this. They do have some flaws, but they have been super hot recently. Their defense is so great that they're going to be in every game. It's going to be one of those series. There's just going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Milwaukee has more experience in this series, and looking at rosters, Milwaukee probably has the better overall roster maybe than Cleveland. But the Cavaliers have been playing so much better recently, and they're, again, on both ends, offensively and defensively, they've been elite. Milwaukee's defense has not been elite or even good this season, especially on the perimeter. And when you have a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who has shown you in the past that, honestly, by himself, he can go win you a playoff game and drop 40, 45, especially if they got Malik Beasley on him. That's free cheese for Donovan Mitchell. And not to mention Darius Garland, who hasn't been great since coming back from injury, but we assume as time goes on, he's going to start getting more and more comfortable in there. And he's a guy that also can go off for 25 and 9 or 10 assists as well and get everyone else involved. But Giannis, man. Giannis is too elite, and Damian Lillard as well. You assume probably who goes on Damian Lillard? Probably Max Strus maybe goes on Damian Lillard in this playoff series on defense for the Cavaliers. Giannis guards. But then again, Chris Middleton. Who guards Chris Middleton? Probably Donovan Mitchell guard Chris Middleton. Just Darius Garland's too small. Darius Garland's probably guarding Malik Beasley unless you put Darius Garland on Damian Lillard. There's options. There's options. A lot of stuff to think about. And from Milwaukee side, Malik Beasley goes on Malik Beasley goes on Donovan Mitchell. Who guards Darius Garland? Dame? Or do you put Chris Middleton on Donovan Mitchell? Put Malik Beasley on Darius Garland? Dame hides on Max Strus probably, is I'm assuming, actually. Then, of course, Giannis goes on Evan Mobley, kind of as a lurker or help around. But Evan Mobley's now starting to hit threes. But how consistent is that going to be in the playoffs? I don't really know. I don't know how much I trust that in the playoffs. This is going to be an interesting series. But I'm going to go with the Cavs. I'm going with the Cavs in 6 or 7. I'm going with Cavs in 6. Even though Milwaukee, again, is elite, and it's very hard. Giannis is another one of those guys I don't like picking against in playoff series, especially because of how elite he is. But it's just the Cavs. The Cavs overall has just been so hot on both ends. And honestly, I trust the Cavs defensively and stuff a lot more than I do Milwaukee. And that's a big reason why I'm going to pick the Cavs. Now we go to the Western Conference. We have the 1 seed Minnesota Timberwolves and the 4 seed Denver Nuggets. This is a really good battle. Again, you got kind of the inexperienced Minnesota team versus the reigning champion Denver Nuggets. Timberwolves have been elite defensively. They've been great. Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns is great. They gave the Nuggets their best run anybody did in the championship run last year in the first round. Minnesota really had a good chance of taking it to 6, maybe even 7. And Denver's team isn't as great as it was last year, obviously, and Minnesota's team is better than last year. But the Denver Nuggets, man, they're just really good. Denver Nuggets are just really good. And Minnesota didn't have Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid last year. This is actually an interesting one. Honestly, I thought coming into it, I was just going to pick Denver straight up in this series. But thinking about it more, man, Minnesota's got a really good shot at this series, to be honest. Better than I think a lot of people would think. I'm still going to go with Denver, though, in 7 games. I'm still going to go with Denver because I think Minnesota's good enough where they're not just going to get 5. I think there's a world where Denver can really get through them, like in 5 or 6. But I think I respect Minnesota a little bit too much to have them do that. I'm going to go with Denver, though, and I'll go 6. Denver in 6, I feel like. They're all reliable. Again, you got Nikola Jokic is great, and even though their Minnesota Timberwolves, especially paint defense, is really good with Rudy Gobert, obviously probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Karl-Anthony Towns has been pretty solid himself. Naz Reid comes off the bench, but Jokic is just a different animal. He's a different breed. Especially if Jamal Murray can get it going. Jamal's going to have tough assignments, so they're probably going to put Jaden McDaniels maybe on Jamal, or does Ant take that assignment? Maybe. Even though I don't know if he does that because he's going to, carry the load on offense. But I think this will be a really good series. A lot better than maybe people expect it to be. But I'm still going to go with Denver in 6. Now we have our last second-round match. We have the 3 seed LA Clippers and the 7 seed Dallas Mavericks. Another Clipper-Maverick series. This is be the 3rd time in 5 years that they played against each other. We know how Luka gets when he sees the Clippers. When Luka sees the Clippers, he turns into the greatest basketball player to ever touch a basketball. And of course with the team developed, with the new team, they look really good. But the LA Clippers, man. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, I don't know who on Dallas is guarding Kawhi or PG. And then you have James Harden as well. It's got to be the Clippers. I'm going to take the Clippers in 5 in this one, honestly. Even though, again, I respect Luka a whole lot in the playoffs, and I love this new team, man. The Clippers are just a different animal, a different monster in their own right, offensively and defensively. And I don't know anybody on Dallas that's really going to be able to guard Kawhi and PG. Now, I can say on the other side, I don't know who on the Clippers is guarding Luka consistently, maybe even Kyrie. But the Clippers team is just overall better, and I trust them a lot more, especially on the defensive end, than Dallas. So I got to go with the Clippers. Now we're in the conference finals. In the Eastern Conference, we have the 1 and 2 seed, the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics. I'm going to go with them in 6. The Celtics are just really good, man. And honestly, I think if the Celtics take out the Knicks that competitively, I don't know. Cavaliers have been really hot, especially recently, obviously. But I just think, the Cavaliers are just, I think the Celtics are just elite. The Celtics are just really good. They're the best team in the league right now. And I don't know. Even though I really like the Cavaliers team, obviously, I think they're really good. I think they're going to hold their own. I don't think the Celtics are just going to sweep them under the rug or anything like that. It's going to be a really competitive series, especially with how amazing the Cavaliers defense is. And with Boston being so jump shot heavily, the Cavs have a chance. The Cavs have an actual kind of chance. I think the Knicks maybe have a better chance. I don't know, beating the Celtics. But the Cavaliers definitely have a chance with how jump shot heavy the Celtics are and how much they don't really get to the paint. It's going to really rely a lot on the Cavs' perimeter defense and how well they can stop them, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and stuff like that. But The Celtics defense is elite in their own right as well, and Cavs are gonna have to rely heavy on the jump shot as well. How good could Donovan Mitchell, be in the series when he's gonna have to go up against Drew Holiday and Derek White all the time? There's gone the same. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are gonna have to face Porzingis down low and Al Horford when he comes into the game. It's gonna be very tough. So I'm gonna go with the Celtics in 6, even though the Cavs, I think they're gonna win a couple games just because their team is too good. But the Celtics, man, I gotta go with them, and they go to the NBA Finals. Now we go to the Western Conference. We have the 3 seed LA Clippers against the 4 seed Denver Nuggets. This is going to be an amazing series if we do get it. Clippers and Nuggets, really good. 2 of the best teams in the league going up against each other. The reigning champs versus the team that's trying to overtake, the hot team in the league right now. It's going to be an interesting series. I don't know who on the Clippers is stopping Nikola Jokic down low. I mean, Zubac, obviously they have Tice and Plumlee, who are decent defenders, but it's Nikola Jokic at the end of the day, But then also on the other side, the Nuggets, who's really stopping Kawhi and PG like that? You got KCP, got to go on one of them, and Aaron Gordon probably goes on the other. You probably put what? Maybe Aaron Gordon goes on Kawhi, and KCP goes on Paul George, and then who's guarding Harden? Jamal Murray, I'm guessing, because I don't know where MPJ probably guards Terrence Mann in this one. So that's going to be tough. And then on the other side, of course, Jamal Murray probably gets the Terrence Mann maybe assignment, I would assume. And then what? Then who guards Aaron Gordon? Maybe like Paul George. I don't know. They could do different things. The Clippers can do different things because they have so many versatile defenders, that they can switch it up, do different things. Probably hide like James Harden maybe hides on MPJ or KCP. One of them takes MPJ so that maybe Kawhi and PG can kind of, kind of help off other people and stuff like that, even though you don't really help off KCP and MPJ because they're they're great shooters. If you get them hot, they could get it going. Aaron Gordon probably gets maybe Kawhi gets Aaron Gordon. I don't know. Both teams can kind of flip around and do some different things because in this matchup, just because based on the matchups and stuff. But I think the Clippers bench is going to be a big X factor in this. Russell Westbrook and Norman Powell coming off the bench both have been great in this series. And Denver's bench, I can't really trust. Reggie Jackson's solid, obviously. And then after that, it's kind of like I don't know how much I can trust Christian Brown. Even though Christian Brown I think will be okay. But I don't know how much I could trust Christian Brown and Payne Watson and DeAndre Jordan at this age and, Justin Holiday and teams like that. Even though the Denver starting 5 is one of the best, if not maybe the best starting 5 in basketball, the Clippers bench I think is going to be a big X factor in this series. And I'm going to go with the Clippers. I'm going to go with the Clippers in 6 games in this series. I just think they're too good. The Clippers are just a really, really good team right now. I think, the bench is going to be a big X factor in this series. Westbrook and Powell, I think, are going to do good things. They come off the bench and do their thing. I don't know. It's going to be tough for the Nuggets to stop them. And now we're in the NBA Finals. We have the Boston Celtics, the number 1 seed in the West, versus the LA Clippers, the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. I think number 1 seed in the East. I don't know if I said West or East for Celtics. I don't know why. I've been messing that up. But the Clippers and Celtics eventually end up in the finals. This will be a very interesting matchup, very fun series. You got Paul George, Kawhi versus Tatum and Brown, James Harden, versus Russell Westbrook versus Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis down there. Like this would be a good series. I'm trying to think of this matchup, the matchups against either side. So you probably put just Kawhi and PG guard Tatum and Brown, I'm assuming. Because what? Who you going to put with the other one on? Like, if one of them doesn't go on Tatum and Brown, then the other one gets what? Drew Holiday, Derek White, and have to kind of stand in the corner-ish or kind of be a ball handler? I don't know. And then the other end, who gets PG? You probably put Derek White on PG, or maybe put Jaylen Brown on PG, and then Drew Holiday guards Kawhi, or you want to put Jaylen Brown on Kawhi. You could put Drew Holiday on PG, Derek White on PG. Like, you could do a lot of different. Boston has so much, man. Boston has so many versatile defenders. The big men are going to be a big issue in this series. How the Clippers are going to be able to guard Kristaps Porzingis in this series. Zubac probably guards him, and now Zubac comes out of the paint because you have to respect Porzingis' jump shot, obviously. Even though the Celtics don't really drive to the rim a whole lot, that is a different dynamic you can add in. Then the other side, you got Kawhi and PG. James Harden, that's going to lead ball handler. How much can James Harden go in this series when James Harden's probably going to get guarded now? I think about it, probably by Derek White, or Drew Holiday. They just have Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White. You can just flip them around on anybody. Honestly, at this point, you could just put them on anybody that they want to, and they can hold their own. That's just how elite the Celtics defense is. But I think this will be a very fun series. I think the bench is going to be another big X factor because you have Westbrook and Norman Powell off the bench. That's going to be a big thing. Even though Boston's bench has been a lot better than expected. You have Al Horford, Payne Pritchard. Sam Hauser's been pretty solid. You know, Xavier Tillman now. They have some solid things, but the Clippers bench has been just, I really love Westbrook and Norman Powell off the bench. You also have Daniel Tyson, Mason Plumlee, maybe for more versatility for Zubac, because Zubac is a little bit more slow-footed, bigger. So maybe Mason Plumlee or Daniel Tyson get a lot more, action in the series to guard Porzingis because of how Porzingis moves around the court and how he can stretch the floor, get in the mid-range post area, do all the stuff like that. So, maybe some of those guys are probably going to be more impactful in that series. I think this would be a very fun series, very good series. Two elite offenses and defenses, two of the best teams in the NBA, arguably maybe even the two best teams in the NBA going at it in the NBA Finals would just be amazing to see. My prediction, ultimately, if I had to pick, I would go with the Boston Celtics in 7 games. 7 games. I think it's going to be a really good series. I think the Celtics are too talented, man. Celtics are too talented. Even though the Clippers probably are deeper than the Celtics, the Celtics are just too talented, man. I mean, again, saying how Jrue Holiday, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown kind of flip over on Kawhi and PG and James Harden and kind of, hold their own. The defense is elite, and of course, I'm kind of wary a little bit. I think the only downfall for the Boston Celtics is going to be, they're heavily relying on jump shots, and if the jump shots doesn't start falling, if they can't really attack with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, then I think that's where, they lose it. And that has the potential to happen because now Tatum and Brown are going to have to go against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, on the defensive end. And if the shots aren't falling and Tatum and Brown can't get to the win because Kawhi and PG are playing good defense on them, then I think the Celtics would be in trouble at that point. But I think the Celtics are just too talented on both ends. They're too good defensively. Offensively, they have all the talent in the world that I'll go with the Celtics in 7 games. But guys, those are my predictions for the playoffs started today, right now. It'll be very fun matchups, very good series. And I'm just ready for it. That's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you like the content around here, consider subscribing, turn notifications, also like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.